We are live now. We can start.
Good evening and warm welcome to you all. I, Priyanka Madalwar, shall be your host for the evening. Here, I'm bringing you another webinar session on gender and sexuality with Anna Jory. Before I begin, here's a brief about us, about Anna Jory, to our new audiences who are with us in this beautiful evening today. Anna Jory means the bond of love. It signifies unconditional love. And it is this bond of unconditional love for his native land that brought back Milind Datta, the founder of Enajori, from the USA to start a non-profit organization in 2018 which engages and promotes various initiatives that are striving for social change, honing leadership skills, and building entrepreneurship capabilities in the Northeast, including Assam. For the last 2 years, we have been engaging with speakers from various fields via virtual media to create a network among the people working in the region. Now, moving on to the reason why we are all gathered here today, I would like to introduce our today's guest, Priya Sarmah, who is in her second year of BCom. She is 21 years old and a core member of Drishti, a queer collective. Welcome, Priya.
Thank you so much for the welcome, and thank you so much for inviting me also. It's like a great opportunity for me to talk forward about gender and sexuality. First of all, I would like to correct that my preferred pronouns are they, them, but I'm comfortable with other pronouns as well. But I like to be preferred as they, them. So it's be helpful if you use more gender neutral pronouns. Thank you. And
Okay, sure. Definitely. So tell me, yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah, you are about to say something.
No. You can carry on.
Okay. So tell me something about you. How do you identify as?
Okay. So myself Priya Sharma. I go by Pixie, and I'm an AFAB, which means assigned female at birth, and I identify as non-binary person. And I'm currently working with a Drishti. It's a core collective which works for LGBTQ people in rural areas as well. And yeah, my preferred pronouns are they, them. I'm really
There might be some network connections because your audio is breaking.
I am facing some network connections. Actually, I can't see proper. Just a second, huh?
Okay, sure.
Picture sound आ रहा है.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, can we carry on?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And what does sex and gender means according to you?
Um, can I share a picture which I can like show and broadly describe?
Yeah, sure.
So this is the umbrella which defines the sex and gender. The sex, it means the biological traits that society associates with being male or female or intersex. It includes the characteristics such as reproductive organs, chromosomes, and hormones. The combination of reproductive organs, chromosomes, and hormones mainly uh, um paying the attention as a on the reproductive organs. A person is assigned male, female, or intersex based on their reproductive organs. Whereas gender means the cultural meaning attached to being masculine or feminine, which influence personal identities. It means socially constructed characteristics of men and women, such as norms, roles, etc. So basically, okay, so, am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Hello.
absolutely.
So
Yes, you are.
okay, I'm a bit nervous. Okay, so like yeah. So in sex, there are three categories, which is called like male, female, and intersex. Here, gender also. A male means in gender, male means man and women. So in gender, man and women is categorized, and there is another category which is called trans. In trans, there are two categories, which is binary and non-binary. So I'll just wrap up and like okay. So gender has not. Okay. So gender is totally concerned with the roles and characteristics based on the society. So so gender is totally associated with the societal factors which influence the gender, which means that a gender is like more of a political thing than a person's what is called like an identity, which becomes a political in characteristics, which is like and according to society there should be man or woman, and the person who does not identify and does not have the proper character like or the one of only one of the characteristics of a man or a woman, they are categorized as transgender, or a person who does not identify with their sex assigned at birth is called a transgender person. So in transgender, there are two categories, which is binary and non-binary. Binary means the where when you associate with the gender identities or gender roles which are being put from the society. So in binaries, there are categories like man, women, trans women, and trans men. Uh, Trans women and trans men also identify as binary person because uh, not always, but they uh, they also identify as binary because they follow the roles of women and men. Whereas non-binary, whereas non-binary is one term people use to describe gender that do not fall into this one of the two categories of a man or a woman. It might be a combination of a man or a woman categories, or it could be a differ from man or woman categories, which are the characteristics of a person irrespective of their gender. So gender expression means is how a person express themselves, their personalities, how they express themselves towards other people. It might be their voice, how they dress up, their hair, makeup, and body language. It is popularly used in LGBTQ community to express one person with their gender identity and sexuality. Um, the gender unicorn. Gender identity means it's in your head. Like identity, how you identify yourself. It has nothing to do with your biological body, or it has nothing to do with your body. It's about how you identify yourself. Whereas gender expression means how you express yourself towards others, or express yourself towards you, like how you feel, how you express your own identity. And the physical attraction, it means the sexuality. It means how it means the attraction that you feel towards the other person.
I got disconnected.
Okay. Emotional attraction, physical attraction and emotional attraction comes in under the sexuality part. I'll just so in gender there are two parts, like binary and non-binary. So in binary there are men, women, women and trans men. In non-binary there are transgender, whereas trans men can also come align. And there are other categories which are non like um, gender fluid, gender non-conforming, agender, bigender, trigender, and so on. So a person who does not identify neither as a man or a woman, or does not identify as either a man or a woman, only a man or a woman, comes under comes under the spectrum of a non-binary person. It can be, they can be identifying as a not solely identify as only man or a woman. So there,
What does gender fluid mean? Can you just speak a little about gender fluid?
yeah, sure. So gender fluidity, the definition of gender fluidity also can differ from person to person. It's about your own term and how you identify as. For me, I also identify as a gender fluid person, and it means for me that sometimes I identify as a feminine person, sometimes I identify as a masculine person. Before, like few years back, I was identifying as a gender fluid person, and that time my definition would be, I sometimes I identify as a woman, sometimes I identify as a man, and sometimes I identify as both or neither. And it was a that time I was only identifying as a either man or a woman. I didn't knew how the way that time I was also feeling about the agender factor, but I didn't knew what it meant because I didn't knew about agender. So I didn't have words to describe my feelings. So now if I had to go back and have to correct the definition, or like I have to recreate the definition of gender fluidity, for me it would be that I identify as a masculine person sometimes as feminine person, and sometimes the combination of a masculinity and femininity, and sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with my expression or my identity. I just sometimes do not identify as any of the terms. It's just, I just be myself. It has nothing to do with my masculinity and femininity. This is how gender fluid means to me. That time also, like when I used to tell my friends or some people that I am gender fluid, and they will be like, "Oh, sometimes you
It
become
means
a man."
does it mean flexible both ways?
Flexible both ways? Like
Okay.
if, and also if you could, it means that expression flexible both way, and it doesn't have to be a flexible both way for everyone, because I have met people who are gender fluid, who do not express themselves as masculine or feminine. You cannot like there's no sometimes it's like a stereotypical, okay, that person is sometimes feminine clothing or masculine clothing, um, like having wearing
Yeah.
opposite sex clothing, and that person is a
Yeah.
gender fluid person. Sometimes you do not sometimes it's like I have met people who do not dress up as a neutral way, or do not dress up in a opposite sex clothing, but they do identify themselves as gender fluid person, because they feel the uh, gender which is in here, not like in clothing.
Okay.
As
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, when I came out to my friends as in the start, when I came out to my friends as gender fluid, they used to ask like questions about like do you see do you like they were in their head. It's like when I'm say the definition where you can find in Google. It's like sometimes they feel like a man, sometimes they feel like a woman, sometimes they feel neither. This is the definition you can find in Google. So they will be like, okay, so like you become a man sometimes and then you become a woman sometimes. And I was like, no, it's not like that. It's more of a like how I feel and how I it's for me it's the expression that I give, not that I become a man or I become a woman. Like I don't become a man or not a woman. It's like I just feel the fluctuation, the fluidity that I have, that hormones that I
Okay.
carry, kind of like that.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, do you have any other question?
No, no, you can carry on with your, yeah.
Yeah, I got lost a bit. Like, okay. So, non-binary. Oh, yeah. So, I want to talk about gender dysphoria, which is associated with
Okay.
mostly associated with people who are from the transgender community or do not identify with their sex assigned at birth. So I'll just share. Gender dysphoria means. Gender dysphoria basically means the conflict of a person who does not. It means that when you do not identify with your sex assigned at birth, you feel a very discomfort in your own body. You do not align with your body. You do not feel comfortable in your own body, and you sometimes you want to change your body. Sometimes you feel like this is not what I am. This does not identify me, or I don't feel me in my own body. This is how gender dysphoria looks like. um like previously gender dysphoria was categorized as a mental illness, but I have read somewhere that now it has been removed as a mental illness. It was an categorized as disorder. Now it's not categorized as disorder because it's mostly constructed with the society. Gender dysphoria is mostly constructed with the society because the society gives you dysphoria that you have to be a certain way to identify with your gender. So if I identify
Yeah.
with myself as a binary trans woman, I do not have to have a beard. I do not have to have a short hair, or like I have to be more feminine. I have to wear feminine clothes to identify myself as a trans woman. Then only I get the correction tick. Okay, now you're a trans woman, or like now you're a woman. Even if I identify myself as a cis woman, I have to pass those traits that I have to have short long hair. I have to be more feminine. I cannot have body hair or like a stereotypical things that a woman do not should not have. So as like a man, like if I'm a man, if I'm a cisgender man, I have to be dominative. I have to be masculine. I have to be my voice have to be deeper. I have to wear masculine clothing. These are the traits that I have to carry. I have to identify with. I have to express to call myself as a man. So that's how dysphoria comes up. And I have seen dysphoria in people who are from the LGBT community, or from like, yeah, I have been friends with LGBT community. They are not transgender, they are not non-binary, they are cisgender. Cisgender means when you identify with your sex assigned at birth. So I have met few cisgender friends. One of my friend has a very slower voice, like a very feminine voice. It's like when you
Okay.
if you talk to that person in call, you will think that okay, this person is a female person or a woman, because they have very soft voice. And that's how they feel dysphoria. And they they also have dysphoria with they used to have dysphoria with their voice, and they could not uh, they were in a stage where when they are like going, using a bus or in a public place, they resist the talk. They do not talk at all. If they have a call from somewhere, they will like reject the call, because they feel if they talk, people will discriminate them, or they will think that that person is a something else, like a transgender, or like a deaf person. They feel they have faced discrimination and all, so they sometimes like do not. I'm just saying they because I'm using gender neutral. So it's a he. So he used to have a
Have you
very
ever been
feminine.
through that?
Yeah. Yeah, I have been
Okay.
through that. And it's lately it's been okay, like past few years I have been going through that, because I myself also have did a lot of studies and researches and all. And when I was going through the gender part, like in 2018, I started questioning about my gender when I was living in a hostel. That time only I had to face the gender discrimination and all. Before that, I was the single
Mm,
child. I was staying with my parents, and there wasn't a single moment when I started when I where I can think like, oh, am I like a cisgender or a transgender person? Because everything was accessible for me. What a man can do and a woman can do, and how they express themselves, I can do both way. So it wasn't a problem for me. That
mm,
time also I was a non-binary person, but it never came up to me, and I did not have to validate myself to others. I wasn't questioned at all, like why are you like this and why do you express
mm.
yourself like this. I was accepted the way I was. But when I went to a hostel and started living with um, females in a girls hostel, that's how the problem came up. So this is a very long story. That's like a, so that in 2018 I started questioning about my sexuality and all, and I started questioning my gender. Sexuality was a like very small part of my struggle. The main part was the gender part. When I was living in a hostel, and we were not allowed to go outside. We were not allowed to go anywhere in spite of our school. Even in Saturday, Sundays, we are not allowed to go out. But in the boys' hostels, boys can go out, and Sundays they can go for how many hours they want. Like they were
Yeah,
accessible to that, and did not have to do anything. They just have to sign it, and then they can just go out. They did not have to call
yeah,
their parents and like, can we go out? No, no.
yeah.
And they are like,
But we have a lot of restrictions every time.
we have not, like we were not at allow not like I raised the first voice, like we also like, why is discrimination? Do you think that boys are
Yeah,
not even like in a danger, or like what do you think? And they were like, we will be
yeah,
responsible for your parents if something happens to the girls. And I was like, okay, so boys anything can happen. They were allowed to go
yeah,
to home by their own, but for us, our parents have to come. They have to took us from the hostel. We cannot go anywhere with of by our own. Like it was very exhausting living there.
yeah, yeah, of course.
And and that time when I raised this question, they were like, why do you want to go out? And I was like, why they want to go out? They want to go out, they want to chill. I also want to go out, I want to chill, I want to have some fun. And I was like, okay. And they were like, okay, we will allow you to go out. We were allowed to go out. Like I lived there for almost like a 1.5 year. It was like breaks and all. So 1.5 year we
Yeah,
were allowed to go out only twice. Like 1.5 years after filing like applications and all, we were taken by our hostel, what does it call,
warden.
warden. Yeah, yeah. So the
Yeah,
warden have to take us in a bus and there will be like
Yeah.
3 wardens for about like 150 students there were, and 3 wardens. They will take us at a particular place, and we
Okay.
can roam
Then drop you
around.
there.
Yeah, nah,
Okay.
they will be with us. They will watch us.
Okay.
We can roam around and all,
Yeah.
and then we have to come again with them only. And they will be like, okay, now you have
Okay.
to go. And that was only for 2 days. One within like a 1.5 year, we were allowed to go twice. One was
Yeah.
for a restaurant or something. We went out, and then second time we went out for a movie. And
Okay.
boys were allowed to go out every week, every weekend. Like every weekend they can go out. So this was the first
Yeah.
question that I did, and after that, I started questioning a lot of things. Like um, in boys' hostels, if they find any alcohol or any alcoholic substances, they were not punished at all. But in the girls' hostel, if they find out any single thing about alcoholic substance, it shouldn't be at any way. Like not even in boys' hostel, not even in girls' hostel, you're not allowed. But it's like it's totally
Yeah.
completely different for a person based on their gender. That's how I saw the
Mm.
gender discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw one of my friend was caught uh, with a cigar, and we have a huge compound, and the hostels are up opposite to each other. There are 2 hostels, and in the mid there is a compound. So she was stood up there. She had to stand there, and the chief warden came, and he scolded and he shouted at her, and he called him with like you're like a very bad person. You should not. I feel very bad like calling like in okay. I'll just say it in Assamese. Like
Okay, sure.
okay, so what he said to her, she was like one of my good friend. So she was caught with a cigar, and she has to send in the like in the compound. Just the okay. Hello,
Hello. Yes,
am I
you're
audible?
audible. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
You can
what
speak
happened?
whichever way you are comfortable in.
Okay. তো মানে কি হৈছিলে
Okay.
যেতিয়া কম্পাউণ্ডত তেওঁ ৰখাইছিলে আমাৰ মানে চিফ ৱাৰ্ডেন আহিছিলে আৰু আমাৰ চিফ ৱাৰ্ডেন আমাৰ হেড অফ দ্য ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্টটো আছিলে কমাৰ্চৰ তো ছাৰ আহিছিলে এণ্ড ছাৰে কৈছে I never expected that a girl can have a cigar with her. Like মই কেতিয়াও ভাবা নাছিলো তোৰ নিচিনা ছোৱালী এজনীয়ে এনেকে চিগাৰেট ৰাখিব লগত মই কেতিয়াও ভাবা নাছিলো লাইক and he literally scolded him. He said like you're a like it was very
এইটো মানে
I
এটা বহুত
feel
ডাঙৰ
very
কথা যে এজনী
bad.
ছোৱালীৰ ওচৰত চিগাৰেট এটা পাইছে
Yeah, and it's like there were 150 students, all of them were standing from like they were watching her from their windows and all, and she was called and she was said like তই মানে ছোৱালীৰ নামত একদম ধাপ্পা তই কেলে এনেকুৱা কৰিলি and you're a really bad person, and a lot of things were said to her. And every time when the chief warden comes, he will mock her and he will say mean stuff to her, and he will be like, "Itya ki ase tuta? Do you have drinks also? Do you carry any other stuff also? And do you also want to do drugs and all?" And it wasn't only like that. He didn't console her, or he didn't ask her like, "Why do you carry on? Like, do you want to quit it, or like, are you facing any issues or anything?" He just called her. He thinks that she did it out of I don't know. It was very much of a problematic. And I was staying in a hostel which was a very outskirted, and the mentality was like very misogynist. I didn't know about it. So I thought before the incident, I thought I should come out. Like I was having very much of difficulty to express my gender and all. And
um, his wife was also our teacher. So
mm,
she used to ask me like, why do you dress up like this? Why do you want express yourself like this? Why do you hang out with boys a lot? And a lot of things like that. And it didn't bother me and her much because it was kind of like a okayish thing. But in 2019, I guess, when I did my piercing, that how the bomb dropped. Because I did my
okay.
eyebrows and it
Yeah.
was very new to them. Like they didn't expect it at all. And I
Mm,
was scoring a good marks and everything, and they were like, they didn't have any complaint towards me about anything. And all of a
mm,
sudden, nothing changed. Nothing changed. Literally, I was the same person how I was without the piercing, and I was still the person with the piercing. But for them, I have completely changed. It was like
changed.
a
Yeah.
totally change. And
Mm,
I was beaten up. I still remember I was beaten up after I did the piercing while I was in like it was a summer vacation. So after summer vacation, I went to hostel, and everybody saw the piercing, and my teacher saw the piercing, and somehow she was finding a way to punish me because cannot punish me directly because of only the piercing.
yeah.
She did scold me. She scolded a lot of students who did hair color and piercings. And few of my friends, when they saw me, they changed their hair. One of my friend, I remember, she colored her hair red, and she saw
Mm,
how my teacher behaved towards me, and she immediately after the next day she colored her hair black again. And
mm,
it was like I was really stubborn, so I didn't remove my piercing at all, and I didn't felt like it was something that was harmful to others. It wasn't harmful to me nor
mm,
towards somebody else. So why will I remove the piercing? Why was
yeah.
it bothering my teacher so much? So what she did,
Mm,
it was after vacation, we were given our test results, and it was like a average marking everyone got. So my teacher
mm,
like she didn't ask anything. She was like she was asking everyone how we spend our summer vacations and all. And then she came up to me and she asked me also like how did you she just looked at me and she's like, তুমিতো ক'বই নালাগে আৰু মইতো গম পাইছো তুমি কেনেকে তোমাৰ summer vacation to spend কৰিলা. And then she literally she I don't know from nowhere she started shouting. She became angry, and she had
mm,
a like there was a stick or like a scale next to her, and then she beat it up like from in front of everyone. It didn't hurt. It was just like how you beat like a somebody like in my legs she beat it or some. It didn't hurt, but the way she said and everyone looked at me, it was the first time when I broke down in front of everyone. And I I didn't know how to react. I didn't know what I went wrong, where I went wrong, and what was the reason that she did all these things. Why was I don't know. It was like what was the reason she did all these things? And from that time, I started googling about gender and all, and I became very quiet after that. I became very quiet, and it was always
okay.
like teachers asking me questions, people asking me questions like, "Why did you do this piercing and everything?" I have kind of like a dysphoria in my eyes, so like it's not in eyes. I blink a lot, and people like kind of notice it. When I was young, it I faced few problems regarding that, and they were like, "Are you winking at us?" or like, "Are you winking at me?" And very random person come up to me and they're like, "Why are you winking at me?" And I'll be like, "No, I'm not winking. This is how I blink." And
Yeah.
so I started having dysphoria about my eyes. And
Mm,
for that reason, when I was in class 6, I guess, I saw people doing piercing eyebrows and everything. So I thought I want to do piercing, because when you feel dysphoria about your body, you want to do something to embrace that flaw of you. And that's
Mm,
how I wanted to do it. So I did
mm,
the piercing, and I wanted to tell my teacher about it. I came up to her and I sat with her for about an hour or so, and I was just trying to, I don't know how to express it. I didn't know anything about gender. I didn't know anything. It was just that she somehow knew that I am having struggle, or like I am having something related to gender. So she was just she sat with me, and I was totally silent, and she was like, "Do you want to talk?" And I was like, "Yes, I want to talk, but I don't know how to talk." And she was like, she sat for me half with me silently for half an hour. Then she started talking to me, and she said, "Listen to me, you're a bright student and everything." And she said, like, "You cannot change yourself. You, yeah, like, God has made you in a certain way, and you have to be a certain way." And also that was about and also she said, you cannot have your own society, or like you cannot have your own kind of a community or anything. Like, I don't know what she meant there, but she said, like, you have to stick with the society, you have to follow the society. Like, there's a particular society, and they will never ever accept you like this. They won't accept you. I had long hair that time, so I
mm,
wanted to cut my hair, and she was like, "No, you can't cut your hair." And she was like, "They will never accept you, and they will discriminate you a lot if you go against them." That was the first time when somebody gave me advice in a wrong way. And
okay.
after that, she also, this is the phase that I remember throughout my whole, like, I like I went to therapy after all these things happened.
Oh,
So
you
I
had
was
to undergo
diagnosed.
therapy as well. Yeah, of
You cannot imagine, my
course.
hostel life was hell, like a hell, totally
Was
a
your
hell.
parents supportive about it? Like they were the same?
No, no, my parents are very supportive. What happened
Okay,
when I
glad
was in,
enough.
thank you, kind of,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes, of
blessed with
course.
that, thankfully. So what
Touch wood.
happened when I was when I was in hostel, my dad passed out. So I lost my dad when I was in hostel, and I was struggling with my sexuality and gender when my dad was like with me. It was very new to me. From class 11, I started questioning about all these things. Actually, after 2018, after 2018, before the after the judgment was passed and it was legalized, that's how I got introduced with the LGBT community and with trans community as well.
Mm,
So before that,
mm,
I never knew all this diversity and everything. So whatever I was feeling, I thought, okay, it's just a feeling and everything, and I can get passed out and everything. So and also it never bothered me. Living with my parents, supportive parents, and as a single child, I don't know. It was pretty much 90%. It was the same for me. It was never a problem for me, even as a queer kid or as a trans kid, identifying as a non-binary now. It's like it wasn't at all problematic for me. Society did question, society did bothered a bit, but I don't know, it never bothered me much. But when I went to hostel, that's how all these things came up, and I thought about talking to my dad about it, but I just thought like maybe later, and that day did never came up. I still remember when he was in his dead bed, I was like whispering him, like I don't know why I was bothered with all these things, and I don't know, I just wanted to came out to him. I just and he was in his deathbed, and I kind of whispered to him, Dad, I think I am gender fluid. Okay, we will talk about it later sometime. please don't be mad or anything. I didn't know how he will react also. So I just wanted to tell him. And also I kind of told him like, Dad, I like girls. I just don't know. And I somehow knew that in somewhere part of me knew that there won't be a second time or second day come that I can came out like to my dad. Somehow I knew that it's going to end soon. So I just that's how I came out to my dad. But I didn't got any response because he was given oxygen and all. The only thing I yeah. So after that it was only my mom and me. And I wanted to come out to my mom, but I thought like before come I was just not sure how she will react. And also she was living by her own and I didn't know. I was scared a bit. So I thought, okay, so teachers know more well than my mom does. She is not that much educated and all. So I thought, okay, teachers are well educated. If I talk to them about my gender struggle, they have studied all these things. So they will come up with a solution, or at least I knew that I need therapy after losing my dad, after all this struggle I was having and a few struggle also. So I knew that okay, mental health is going in like this in a down, and I just need therapy. The only thing I need was therapy. So, and I cannot go by my own. I was not 18. Also, I was not allowed to go out because of the hostel rules. So I thought, let's talk to the chief warden, who is our teacher, and he was really close to me. He was like a godparent for me. I made him a godparent when I never I I always stayed with my parents. I wasn't living in a hostel before um, my junior college. So it was really new to me, all this transition about places and all these things that happened. And I lost my father, and I don't have any siblings. My mom is living in a different city all by herself. All these things was bothering me a lot. And I thought like, okay, if I talk to my teacher, he will help me. So every problem I face, I talk to him, and he somehow give me some examples, some stories, or like he will help me. He helps me most of the time. So I thought, okay, let's talk about the gender issue also, and also that I need therapy. So I asked him like, I want to talk to you about something. Can you help? And like, do you have time and all? So he's like, yeah, sure. And I didn't know how and all, but before I was it took me like 4 to 5 days to literally speak to him. It's always like, I will talk to you some other day. I will talk to you some other day. And then when I went to him and I said, like, I want to talk to you about something and it is very sensitive. And he was like, do you not like boys? And I was like, no, it's not related with this. And he was like, are you having question about your sexual somehow he I don't know, he got to know about it. I just didn't know his. And I was like, yeah, yeah, this is also, but I have some other topic as well. And I tried to talk to him. I gave him some examples. I didn't know how to express my gender identity. So with people who I feel relate to, like Durga Gowde, Ruby Rose, and some other gender fluid people. I gave him some examples and I told him that this is how I feel, and I feel more connected, and I feel like somehow I feel like I don't feel that I can get identify myself as a woman or or a man. So what he said he was like, he took his, he was literally in denial. He didn't wanted to listen to me at all. He was trying to only give me advice. So he was trying to, no, 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 this is a phase, and this is everything, and like you are having all this freedom and all, and you think that a man has all this freedom and all, and you have to be a certain way, that's why you're feeling like this. And I was like, no, I do not. He asked me like, do you want to be a man? And I was like, no, I don't want to be a man. and and that's how I was. Then why do you think that you do not identify with your gender? And I was like, because I do not feel all these characteristics, I do not identify only with a woman or a man. I feel fluctuating. And also not only the characteristics, this is how I feel, my personality, my expression. And i I tried to tell him that if I identify as a gender fluid person or a non-binary person, it will be more helpful towards people to I will have a word to tell them, oh, this is how I am. Because if somebody hears my name, they will have a picture of me, and I do not fit into the picture. And and I was very having a lot of discomfort as calling myself a woman. I don't know why. And and what he said that he tried to verbally abuse me, and I didn't knew about it back then. After going to therapy, I came to know about it. I was always like, oh, he is my well wisher. He's my well wisher. He just want good for me. So he said that you have a single mother who relies on you, and she will break down if she ever come to know that you feel all these things and you are having struggle with these things. And he literally said that your mother lost like your father. She's living by her own. Do you want her to struggle more? And he also said like, what if she experience depression because of you? What if she starts worrying for you because you are saying that you belong to the LGBT community, and it's not easy to be a part of a LGBT community. And people will, he literally said that if you choose to be a LGBT from the if you choose to be a homosexual, if you choose to be with the LGBT, like be from become the, he just literally said, he just said that choose, like I choose to be a part of this thing, like not I am, I choose to be, like according to him I'm choosing all these things, it's in my control. So he said if you're choosing to follow all those trees, all follow that community, because you think that all those because you think that community is very sparkling, very bold, very like they do not have any rules, or like it's an awesome community, then you're really wrong, you're like very wrong, and it will never lead you to a healthy path. It will never lead you to a healthy future. And people will never see you uh, like same as they see you now. So also he gave me solutions. He said like express your femininity more. He he literally told me like, do you have bindis and all? And he asked me like, do you have mirror in your room? And I said yes. And he was like, okay, look at your mirror, look at how feminine you are, and only like focus on your femininity, and try to wear only feminine clothing. Never, do not wear any masculine clothing or anything that will divert your mind. And he he gave me an example which I think is what is called uh, what therapy is it called? Gentle. I forgot it. Like conversion therapy. Yes. So he gave me an example of a conversion therapy through their perspective. Like it was a conversion therapy, according to me at least. So what he said, that he had a friend who was gay. So they were they were studying in a university, and in hostel there was a gay friend of him. And what they did, um, he uh, he and his friends, they they took him with them at night, and they will pour buckets and buckets of cold water in his body. Like they will, like, it's kind of like they will baptize him.
Mm.
They will baptize him, and they will say that you're not gay, you're straight. All this trash in your head has to change, and you are straight, are attracted to women. You are. It's a sin, and you're not going back to all these things.
He
And
was forced to realize that he is a male,
no, he's a straight person. He was gay,
straight
and
person. Okay.
he was a straight. He was gay. My sir said that he was gay, and they turned him straight. It was like they converted him straight.
Oh.
And I was literally 18 that time, and he gave me all this example, and he said, if
It's
the
terrifying.
it was it मेरे पैरों के
My
नीचे से
lord.
जमीन लग गई, like, oh my god, like I was so scared. I was literally living in a hostel, and I thought, what if my friends came to know and they do something like this, or maybe worse
Yeah.
than this, and I
Yeah, of course.
cannot take the risk at all. And my teacher said, I hope I do not have to do anything regarding all these things. I do not want to take any actions and all. And he said, do it by yourself. You are a very strong person and everything. You can do it by yourself, and you can turn yourself all these things, and you can be normal. And it was very horrifying for me. That example was something that in my head for a long time. It kept me to come out to other people, because I think, like, basically to my parents, like to my mom and other relatives and all, because I thought, what if the same situation happens to me in a more broader sense? Like, what if I came out to my parents and they took me to a somewhere like tantric, or like anywhere, like a astrologer or anywhere, and what if they do, I was like, what if they do something regarding that, and I can anything. If there's a majority of people and they decide to do something, I cannot go against them. So
Mm.
that was very horrifying for me. And another example regarding my gender, he gave me an example of his neighbor. So what
Mm.
happened? His neighbor was bitten by a dog once. It's a stray dog, and it was kind of like, okay, he didn't took any injection or anything. And after a few months, his neighbor, somebody else told his neighbor that you might get rabies.
Mm.
And he started, he didn't have any idea about rabies. He said, okay, what is rabies? And he started studying about rabies, and he started knowing about rabies and all. So what happened? According to my teacher, he started reading about it. He started reading massively, a lot. And because of he started reading, and he started thinking that he has rabies, and he died after that.
Oh.
And he died after that, after, because of rabies or something, I didn't know. My teacher literally gave me example about it, that example, and he told me, did you understand any of, and did you understand why I shared this story with you? You're
Mm.
the person who got rabies. You're studying about LGBTQ. You're reading about
Mm.
LGBTQ. You're reading about gender and sexuality and stuff. You're reading a lot about it. And that's why you are confusing your own mind that you also belong to this community. In fact, which
Well,
Like he started confusing me. He started gaslighting me, and for a long time I had so much
এনেকুৱা যে তুমি
struggles.
সেইবিলাক পঢ়ি আছা কাৰণে চাগে তোমাৰ ভ্ৰম কিবা এটা হৈছে, মানে তোমাৰ মগজত
Yeah,
সোমাই গৈছে
yeah.
তুমি
তুমি
পঢ়ি
মানে
থকাৰ
পঢ়ি
কাৰণে।
আছা, no? He didn't knew that I was having struggle. That's why I started reading about it, because I didn't have
Yeah,
words to express my feelings. I never had words.
just to
I
make
was,
yourself clear. Yeah.
yeah, to make myself clear, because I was non-binary. I was queer from childhood. I had all these
Yeah.
feelings. I had all these feelings, but I never knew how to express all these feelings. I didn't know how to tell someone that, yeah, I feel like this. Or I always felt kind of like alienated, because there were no terms. There were only terms like gay, lesbian. And
Yeah.
I
Terms.
kind of didn't fit into that label. And
Yeah.
always like, do I feel like this? Do I not feel like this? When I started reading about this, that's how I started gaining confidence. I started, oh, it's okay. There are people. And when I saw all these representations, people from our community, and saw all this diversity, that's I got to know, okay, the world is not how we think it is. It's very
Yes.
diverse. It's very diverse, and you can be your own self. Even if you identify as a particular label, that label have
Yeah.
your own definition, which might not
Mm.
be similar to somebody else's definition. Like even if I identify as a gender fluid person, it might not be same definition to the some other person who also identify as a gender fluid person. Same goes with bisexuality, pansexuality. All these definitions have different definition from for person to person, based on how they feel comfortable, how they express, and how they have labelized it to feel more connected and express themselves towards to others. So he literally gaslighted me, and I I started questioning that, am I really a gender fluid person, or like I am gaslighting myself, or like I am faking it or something. And it bothered me a lot. It took me it it was, I didn't know how to express it. It was very hard. And every time when I was confident enough to come out, but and like at least I felt very suffocating to not come out, because when our friends talk about their crushes and their experiences or like other stuff, and I feel like, okay, do I have a space to talk about myself also? And to create that space, I have to come out to them. If I talk to them about a girl I like, or a feminine boy I like, or I feel like a trans person, I feel like a mess when they call me tomboy and all, and I kind of don't like the word tomboy. So I wanted them to have affirmative pronounces for me. To do that, I have to come out to them.
Yeah.
And I started feeling suffocating. And every time, because of the teachers that gaslighted me, that told me that this is the truth, this is how you feel, and this is why you feel all these things, had
Yes.
kind of conditioned my mind. And every time
Yes.
I come out to somebody, I always in my mind I was like, do am I really this like, what if I change my label? What if I do not feel the same period of time? And I somehow thought that if you have a gender identity, if you have a sexuality, it must have to be constant. It cannot change.
Yes.
Once you have a label, your label cannot change. It's just stick to with you throughout your life or something.
Yeah,
And
you have
I
to stick
was
to
very
that.
frightened with it. As a fluid
Yeah.
person, my gender and my sexuality kind of it fluids, and over a period of time, people, there's this thing like people change. We change very small, very mildly, like we do not even know how that we have changed, but we change our expression, our body, our mind, we get to know a lot of information. So over a period of time, we do change. And as we change, so as our gender and sexuality will also might also change,
Yeah.
because it defines how you express yourself, how you feel, and our feelings, obviously our feelings changes.
Mm.
So when I came out to my friends as bisexual, and I started having anxiety and all, and I was like, okay, now I have told everyone that I'm bisexual, and now what should I do? And I back then I was bisexual. I was attracted to men, I was attracted to women, and I didn't know any other gender than that. And so I was bisexual, and after some time I started knowing about diverse genders, and I find myself attracted to different genders. And then also I started reading about bisexuality, pansexuality, polysexuality, and it was always that all of these labels were defined a certain way, and I never felt that comfort to have a particular label and
Mm.
tell people that, yeah, this is my label, this is how I feel.
Mm.
And like, if I constantly tell people, okay, I feel like bisexual now, and after some few months I will tell them I feel like a pansexual, and then again I will tell them I feel like a polysexual. So I sometimes think that people will think that I am faking it, or
Mm.
they will be like thinking that, okay, you are very confusing. Like people say to bisexual people that they are confusing. So I
Mm.
think they say to bisexual people. And so if I come out to as all these labels, because I feel almost a bit com somehow comfortable on this label, with all these labels, but I don't know. It's like I just can't stick to one label.
Yeah.
And it took me a very long time to literally tell myself that it's okay to explore. It's okay to see which label suits you. And just because it's like a label is something that we can, like, a smaller identification that you do not have to broadly say it, or like how you expect it. If you meet a stranger and they will ask you what's your gender, or like what's your sexuality, you can say it in a one word, okay, I am non-binary, or like I am gender fluid. Or if they have all this, how much of idea they have, how much of educated they are, like towards all these labels and all, we can express ourselves with only few smaller words. But just few words cannot define me. So it took me a long way to unlearn a lot of things.
Mm.
And like I said, bisexuality or polysexuality or pansexuality can also have different meanings based on the particular person. They can have their own definition. Like I still used to define as identify as bisexual, and for me bisexual that for me bisexuality mean that I am attracted to female women and a non-binary person.
Mm.
I am not attracted to a man. And recently I get to know about polysexuality, which means being attracted to more than multiple genders, but not all genders. So this is very comfortable for me to identify myself as a polysexual person, because I'm not, I don't know, but I think that I'm not attracted to men. So as a polysexual person, I am attracted to trans person, I'm attracted to non-binary person and different gender identities, re- um, and women, but I'm not attracted to a cisgender heterosexual man. This is a definition that I define as a polysexual person. And also Uh, so I uh, it was before my graduation. It was like 3-4 months when I started having like experiencing depression, and like I tried very hard to talk to my teacher about it. From 6 to 7 months before, I started telling them that I am feeling very low, or I don't know how I'm feeling, but I am not able to concentrate. I'm not able to concentrate on my studies. I'm not able to sleep. I barely sleep at night, and at night, my mind is so active. It's hyperactive. It's
Oh,
like I want to write, and till 3 a.m., till 4 a.m., I just write stuff. And when I wake up next day or a few days back, when I see all these writings, all n- nothing makes sense. I'm just writing some things that does not mean anything, or like very confusing. But that time when I'm writing all these things, I think all these things matter a lot. All these things are, even if I'm writing about any letter or I'm writing something particular topic, when I write about all these topics, I feel that okay, this topics is very bold and was like very much I can write about it in my exams or anything. When I read again, the words are very this. It's like I make a lot of mistakes. I and from that,
well, you have had a very tough time dealing with your mental health, it seems, yeah?
yeah, yeah,
Well,
I had a very
okay,
tough time, and I kind of knew that I needed therapy. I uh,
okay. So,
we were
how are
not.
you doing now?
I am doing okay. I'm doing good in comparison to my past self. I'm doing like
Okay,
really great. I'm still going to
okay,
therapy. I have started
okay.
therapy 1 month back. It's
Yeah.
it sometimes we again go down, and then we again
Mm,
had to rise. It was some
yes,
like that for me.
okay,
I was my when I told my teacher that I need therapy and I want to go to see a psychologist, he said that you're not a mentally ill person, and he said he literally said you're not mad, you're not a mad person, like तुम्ही
okay.
पागल ना हो. Then why do you want to go to a psychologist? Because according to them, if you
Yeah,
go to a
according to
psychologist,
that concept, yeah,
yeah,
you're having some mental issues, yeah?
yeah,
Well,
not even mental issues. It's like if you're going to a psychologist, then you're a mad person, like তুমি পাগল. So he said, "তোর পাগল নহয়. Do you want to become a mad person?" He's like, "তোর পাগল হব বিচাৰ নেকি?" And he's like, if you are not a mad person and you go to a psychologist, they will make you mad. And it literally blew my mind. It was very tough for
I
me
can
to
totally
admit,
understand. Yeah,
like as a teenager, seeking for mental health by myself, it was already tough because I didn't want
yeah,
to talk to my mom about it, because I thought
okay,
like if I tell her what how she will react, and what if she starts worrying for me. So I thought I can do
okay,
it by myself. I just needed few help from my teachers. And
okay.
I told him to not to talk to my mom about it. Actually, he didn't. He didn't told about that. I want to go to therapy. He didn't say it about it. I wish he said. My mom would have taken me.
Yes,
It
yes,
was
I
like
understand.
the amount of gaslighted they did, the amount of trash they put in my head. It's always like I made up a lot of things by my own. I
Mm,
always thought that my mom will never gonna accept me. I always thought that my mom never gonna take me to therapy. I always thought that if I come out to my mom, she will be depressed. I thought like
mm,
she will be break down. She will never talk to me. She will tell everything about. my identity to my relatives, and they will take me somewhere. It's like worse thoughts that in my head. And so I choose to not to tell my mom. And um and I told my teacher to not tell her, and he didn't. But what he did was that he literally restricted me to not to talk about it to anyone. And he said, if you tell anyone that you want to go to psychologist, and tell your friends that you are having mental issues or like you're being a bit unstable or anything, they will freak out, and
Hmm.
they will s- they won't feel safe with you.
Hmm.
And he said like you have you have thought, you have overthink so much that you are having all this feelings and all, and now you have to calm down and you have to just not think. He just literally said that it's all about you, it's all up to you, you have the control of your mind, it's all in your head, and now you have to just stop it. And because of that, I took like 4 or 5 months, and I literally started gaslighting myself, and I started telling myself that I have whole control over me. Then why am I making my life so problematic? Okay, wrap it up. So problematic. And overall, it was like I did went to therapy, because even if I gaslight myself and all, I just do what feels right for me. And for in that moment, I felt very right to psychologist, because I knew I needed help. So went to psychologist in Tejpur. Um, there was a government mental hospital there, and I went there. And thankfully, I met very great counselors and therapists, and I talked to them, and they helped me a lot.
Hmm.
And yeah, I was having suicidal thoughts and a lot of things, but they helped me a lot to get through it.
Hmm.
And after that, it's just ongoing process. They just told me what they gave me one advice or example. I don't know. It's like they told me this thing that you have your own sky. Like there is this picture, you have your own drawing, like, and every single person has their own drawing, and you have colors in your hand, and people are saying that you have to color your tree green,
Hmm.
but you don't want to color your tree green, you want to color your tree in orange. Your The color of your tree is orange or red, and you want to color it orange or red, but you're constantly mocking, people are laughing at you, people are saying that you're dumb, you're stupid, and
Hmm.
they're saying that this is wrong. But according to you,
Yeah.
the color of your tree is orange, and you have
Hmm.
color in your hand, so why are you restricting yourself to color it orange? It won't
Hmm.
affect anyone. If you even color it orange or red, it's just a color, it won't affect anyone. And that was the best example that I got, and it kind of
Yeah.
changed my life. And still therapy going on, and mid I just stop. I don't know, like this therapy I stopped because of COVID. And after COVID, I started having a lot of negative thoughts and everything, and I thought like there is no way to go back to therapy. I wanted to do it by myself, and I did it. But again, I have experienced a lot of trauma, and because of that trauma I have trauma responses, and I do not know how to cope up with those responses, with relationship, with my expressions, a lot of things. I sometimes face a lot of problems. and because of it, I'm going to therapy to heal from all those trauma which I have carried away for a long time. I have been uh, through a lot. I don't want to talk about it much. I have.
Well, I really hope you get over this very soon.
Thank you. I hope that too.
Yeah.
Thank you. And this is how it feels. Also, when we overthink a lot, it also kind of affects a lot. It's
Yeah,
just,
of course.
yeah. And it's not like you can control it. You can just, I don't know, it's just those, it affects a lot how a person is responsive towards you. Like, if I had a better teachers that time, I wouldn't have been through all this. It like it took me a long way to literally like accept the fact that my teachers were not supportive towards me. They were abusive and all. And I was always like felt like, how can a teacher be like this? No, they just want our
Yes.
good and everything. But this is not the case. Even in college now, there was this incident. One of our professor once said that this is a trend to call say that you have depression. Nowadays, people have made it a trend.
Trend,
And
yeah.
I was attending the class. There were like 30 to 40 students, and he said like nowadays, like how can you say that a teenager has a depression? How can a teenager have depression? They have just barely have work. They just have to study and do their own work. How can a person have depression at that age? And it
Yes.
literally brought me back to my own experience as a teenager with depression. And I experienced panic attack that time, but I wanted to talk about it, and I somehow talked to my teacher that class. He a bit got offended by it, but later he said, "Okay, I tried to tell him this is how I think, and I told him that it's not the case all the time.
Okay.
There is no age like there is no age to have a leg fracture or a bone fracture or any kind of physical disease, like anything happens, what happens to you, like a leg fracture or anything. At any age you can get a leg fracture. Depression is somehow like that. There's no particular age that this is the age that you will get depression. At any age you can get depression,
Yes.
you can face depression. So these are the societal factors that affect a lot in gender, and uh, who is from a community, minor community like LGBTQ and trans, and even in cisgender people, cis heterosexual people also face all these things. Gender affects a lot. It,
Yeah. I totally understand. Priya, anyway, we are running short of time,
yeah,
so we'll
okay.
definitely have another session on this. Definitely. It was really nice talking to you. Hopefully, we catch up someday later.
Yeah.
And I wish you the best for your future, for your bright
Thank
future,
you
though.
so much. Thank you so much,
Yes.
and thank you so
Yeah,
much for
yeah. Hi,
listening.
Priya.
Hello.
Yeah, actually, as you have mentioned about your teachers and your experience, na, so as we are live in Facebook, so you can share. I think we can share or take this video to them also, so that whatever you could not express at that moment, maybe from this video, the video can be one of the source to bridge that gap, and that means whatever you wanted to say, we can they can understand maybe. So yeah, that's what I
I
wanted to say. Hello. Am, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to just say to Priya.
Okay, okay.
It's
Priya somehow got because okay.
I tried a lot to tell them how I feel and everything to normalize them, but they never responded. And I don't think that they will ever be acceptable towards it. Or maybe they might in future.
Hmm.
I don't know how they will react. But I tried a lot, and the only reason I tried that I never wanted somebody else to go through how what I went through. They never had this they never had this idea that I was going through all this. And I I have seen how it affects it literally affected me. And I never wanted some other kid from a junior from they are from a respected college, and there will be a lot of students they will teach. I never want them to teach those things that they have taught me, which has conditioned my mind. And
Hmm.
I do want them to be more open minded now. It's never too late to learn all these things. And if they want to reach out to me, I'm ever ready. Okay, I can listen more about it. They can গালি চালিও পাৰিব পাৰে আৰু পাৰিলেও পাৰিব আৰু. But if they want to reach out, they want to talk, and if they want to apologize, it's okay to apologize. Because for me, they have somehow they have affected me unconsciously, even if unconsciously they have affected me. So if, at least I don't want them to do the same thing to somebody else. This wasn't right. They thought it might be right because of how they were taught by their teachers or how they were taught by the society. But now I think that if they came to the realization that it does affect a person, at this instinct that I still now have to go to the therapy. And I'm still struggling with all this trauma that I had somehow faced. It's not that I do not want to blame them, but it will be very helpful that if they reach out to me. Thank you. This is how
Well,
what I
thank you,
wanted to.
Priya. It was really nice talking to you.
It was really nice
Yeah.
session. Thank you so much for giving me a voice to talk about it, a platform to talk about it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We can end the session, right?
Yeah.
Um,